I'm making this video to explain why the Kemp drill was called the Kemp drill, which it's no longer going to be called that. So why is that even a thing? Why would I try to use a player as an example of movement, of positioning? So this is a player that may have been similar to the one I was talking to in that video. And when we look at the shoulders, we look at this swing, and there's a lot of things going on. And this is not an attack on this player. It's just an example. So they submitted this video through Pelotero, and we can see the shoulders, that right shoulder. When you're looking at that right shoulder, his rear shoulder's coming up into contact. This is clearly something that we don't want. This is not something that historically has ever been something that works, that happens. It's very inefficient. It's clearly not what we want the player to be doing. This is just, you don't see this with any successful players. It's just not a move that happens. Tons of upward movement. There's a lot of things going on. So let's bring up Kemp just as an example. So we can see the back shoulder goes down, and then he turns through, and that back shoulder stays down. He's not coming up into the ball. Great. Another good hitter, Barry Bonds. As he goes through his move, and I could pull up hundreds of videos. So I'm not going to do that. But we see the shoulder tilt. We see that back shoulder staying down through contact. Will it come up later? Sure. But the move here, the move of the shoulders is clearly the back shoulder getting down and staying down through contact. I'm not trying to make this up. I'm not inventing this. This is just basic observation. So when we go back to this player, we see that it's not happening. This is not a clean, efficient move. I mean, if we can't agree on that, then there's no point of even like having discussion or talking about it or whatever. So if you don't like subscribe to this part, just stop watching. If we agree to this, if we agree the hitter's not doing a move that they probably should be doing, then it becomes either the coach's job or the player's job to figure out what the moves they're trying to do are, and then create ways for them to try to do those moves. So for this player, if I were to ask this player to make their back elbow get as low as their waist before the hands come forward, this is an exaggeration drill. This is a way to get their brain to think about, yes, it's partially internal, but it's also a checkpoint that they're trying to reach. I actually told the player at that event that the video is from to try to make his elbow get down to his knee, because he just could not get any sort of side bend. He couldn't get the shoulders to do this when he was hitting, and he was swinging straight down and not hitting the ball well at all. So if we're trying to help a player, we have to teach them something, and sometimes you have to go to further extremes. Now, one of the complaints is that apparently, and Kemp, if you're watching this, I would love to talk to you about this. The argument that he isn't trying to do it. He's not thinking about doing that. So we got this little matrix here, a little 2x2. So they do it or they don't do it. Thinks about doing it, doesn't think about doing it. So right here, they do it and they think about doing it. Great, they do it. If they do it without thinking about doing it, right here, does it but doesn't think about doing it, they're still doing it. I would imagine a player like Kemp would probably think about getting on top of the ball. If your natural move is to get the elbow down like that, that is your tendency that you're going to fight against. It's just you're gonna fight that. Just like a player who swings straight down is going to fight that tendency. There's a lot of room on the top to be wrong, and there's a lot of room on the bottom to be wrong. And the challenge is trying to get to that middle, the sweet spot in the middle. Just like hitting a ball, you can miss under a ton, you can miss over a ton, but finding the sweet spot is in the middle. Just like the back elbow, you don't want the back elbow to be behind the hands pushing, just like you don't want the back elbow to be in front of the hands pulling. We want the back elbow to be under the hands because that allows the bat to transition. Sometimes you need to go to extremes. Sometimes you need to ask players to exaggerate something, to feel something. One of the most common phrases I use is go so far that you think it's wrong, because they need to feel something different. And in their brain, if you say do something wrong, they kind of let go a little bit and will say, to themselves, all right, if I'm trying to do this wrong, it's going to be different. The wrong and different get kind of mixed up in the head. So if we go back to this video, and this is why I called it the Matt Kemp drill, because the elbow is as low as the waist. Thinking about it or not, this is a reality. This happens. Somebody mentioned about spine bend. The spine is bending. This is like, I wouldn't really say that to a player, but it is happening, even if you don't think about it happening. So elbow as low as the waist, spine bent, shoulders tilted. Even if you're not thinking about it, it is happening. So when you go from this to a player that's not doing it at all, not doing it whatsoever, this spine looks very straight up and down. So I wanted players to see this in their head. I wanted them to picture this exact moment. I wanted them to feel that and place that image so that when they were swinging, they had a checkpoint to feel and a checkpoint to achieve when they were swinging. That's why I call it the Matt Kemp drill. And I won't call it that anymore if that's offensive, or if you think I'm not trying to steal or use your success or use a player. I'm trying to create an image in the player's head. That was the goal. That was the intent. Fully recognizing that Matt Kemp probably did not think about doing this. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean, like, if Matt thought about making the shoulders tilt more, it probably would hurt him, because it's going to an extreme in a bad way that would be detrimental to his tendencies. It's just, I want to have conversations about this stuff. I don't want to be on Twitter fighting about it and just wasting time arguing about something that clearly happens. We can disagree about methods for teaching it, but just don't tell me it doesn't happen, because it's clearly happening. And that's not meant, it's not offensive, it's just observation. So sometimes you need to go to extremes. Sometimes you need to ask players to do weird things to get them to move differently, try to feel new things. And ultimately, we're just trying to help. We're trying to help kids like this who are trying to put the time in. They want to work hard. They want to show up. They want to put the work in. Help them get better. Help them love the game. Help them learn how to work hard and learn how to invest their time and have work ethic. Give them a chance. Give them opportunities to be better than what they are. I want all my players to be better than I ever was. It's not. So Matt, I apologize if you felt that me using your name was offensive or rude or anything. Again, would love to talk to you, but I'm not going to stop teaching this. I'm not going to stop. This is not wrong. This is not bad. This positioning is not bad. This is, I think, a position that the vast majority of hitters that hit well throughout the history of the game, Jeff Fry included, get their back elbow down like this. So I would rather have them emulate really good hitters and really bad hitters. I want them to see this image in their head when they're swinging. Won't call it that anymore, but stand by it. So that's why it was called what it was called, and I hope it helps more players. The number of people, a lot of people have reached out saying that they've used that drill since and it's helpful. It's going to hurt some players. It's not right for some players. It's not meant for every player. But for the right player, it can be really helpful. And that's what I'm after.